up, chat? We're back
We
with a
back.
Money Emotion Monday episode.
Oh
And
yeah.
today we got a interesting episode and topic, and we're going to be talking about pop-up events
Oh
and
yeah.
kind of break them down for you guys. A lot of times kind of people underestimate them and they think they're easier than they look or maybe harder than they look. And honestly, it just depends on your preparation behind the scenes, honestly. Um,
True that.
yeah, because honestly, like a lot of the times you see pop-ups in social media and you just either psych yourself out because it looks like it's a really big pop-up and maybe you're like a smaller scale business that's just starting off and you're like, I don't know if I fit in there or if that's something that I should invest money in because pop-ups are usually not free. Um, but with that being said, we're gonna dive into it and kind of talk about the do's and don'ts and our experiences in pop-ups, what we've learned, good and bad lessons we've learned, and just maybe even try to help you guys with tips and tricks as to what we see, um, like helps people.
Yeah, because we've done quite a few of them already. Some smaller and some really huge, and there was a lot of similarities with um. There's a lot of different things that we were able to like pick apart from like vendors that were doing really well or vendors that were not doing so well. So we're gonna kind of break it down for you guys and really give a different point of view because
Yep.
we were there
Mm-hmm.
side by side with these people.
Yeah, and hopefully save you guys time, money, or even help you guys prepare better
Mm-hmm.
for your first pop-ups or your next coming pop-ups.
Yeah.
With that said, we'll jump right into it. First, it's gonna be the expectations versus the reality of pop-ups. And how people just kind of sometimes they over romanticize the pop-ups and essentially overhype them and it can affect their execution on it. Um, People think that like just because you go to a pop-up, for example, with 20,000 people that are expected to show up, right, over a course of maybe 1 or 2 days, people think like, oh, if I put myself in that pop-up, I'm automatically gonna get sales. Or like they end up being at some of these events and then they realize that they're not properly equipped to execute correctly and market themselves at these events.
Yeah.
There's like little things that make a difference as to like if you're gonna get noticed or not, or how you're gonna drive traffic to you. Especially when you're at pop-ups that you're competing against obviously other brands. And I wouldn't maybe even say competing, but at the end of the day, like if a different brand is attracting the people and you're not doing anything on your in your booth that's going to grab the attention of those individuals that are walking by and are curious, then you're going to lose potential sales, and that's just like how it goes, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. That's a big expectation versus reality thing because I used to think the same thing where I would see on social media a lot of like these huge events and I was like, holy crap, look at all this foot traffic. But a lot of foot traffic, like Bruce was saying, doesn't always mean a lot of sales, right? A lot of the
Mm-hmm.
times, it's more about like what Bruce was saying, like the presence that the other vendor is bringing, like a lot of the times sometimes you don't even do well on sales and you start realizing, oh crap, it's kind of just like a big networking event, right? So you
Yep.
start meeting other either local vendors or just people that have small businesses and then you start networking naturally like that, which honestly sometimes, at least for us, has definitely paid off.
Yeah,
Just like
thankfully.
thankfully. But then again, like Bruce was saying, depending on how you are at your booth, if you're bringing that energy, you're gonna attract those type of people, right? Like if
Mm-hmm.
you're not bringing that energy and you're just sluggish, kicking back, then there's no networking opportunity there, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think like one other thing too to also consider when you're looking into pop-ups and you're trying to figure out which direction or which pop-up or whatnot is the best fit for you is you have to look at the demographic of people that are attending these events because
Yes.
again like these are things that we've learned is a pop-up that can be attracting thousands of people can be people that are not interested in the specific niche that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like a good example that we've literally just talked about not too long ago was we were going to pop-up events that were predominantly for food vendors. And so people that were going to these events were going with the intentions of trying food, not necessarily shopping for fitness apparel or like for clothes in
Yes.
general.
Yes.
And so, yes, these events were really packed and people were looking at our stuff and asking questions, but their ultimate goal wasn't to be there and buy clothes and shop. It was to buy and eat food.
Correct.
So that's where we saw like a lot of like early on discouragement in like our pop-ups was
Mm-hmm.
we were at these events doing like 5 6 hours or whatever and we would get a few sales thankfully still but it wasn't to what we were expecting because of the total like volume of traffic that was there
Right.
but on reflection we were realizing that people were there for a different purpose right so
Mm-hmm.
moving forward, we talked about, hey, when we go to pop-ups, we have to go to pop-ups that are related to the niche we are in. So if we're gonna do pop-ups, let's try to go into some that are more like fitness related, or like health and wellness related, or running or working out related, like at gyms or something like that. So
Yeah.
that's where we're gonna try to tap into more in the future. But that's just kind of like something you as a vendor or a business owner has to think about when you're signing up or looking at these is if you're a food vendor, then go into like food vendor pop-ups.
Yeah.
If you're like a clothing, fashion, or like vintage or whatever kind of like niche, try to find pop-ups related to that.
Yeah.
Um,
To add to that, also, just real quick, that's something that's super important
mhm,
is if you do decide to attend a event that is just based more around food, like Bruce was saying, you have to be quick on your feet and adapt to yeah, you have to figure out how to stand out from everybody else, which is something that we luckily caught on real quick. And that's when we started doing we came up with the idea of, dude, let's do a push-up challenge. Let's bring our jump rope, a little jump rope challenge. Things like that will attract eyes towards your booth. And then from there, that's where your energy takes over, and then whether depending on the how you interact with the people that are there, then your sales are going to reflect off of that, right? Because then now you're telling them your whole story on where you started. You kind of get like you bring them in emotionally rather than just your product that you are selling. And that is how we made a lot of the sales
mhm,
after realizing maybe we shouldn't be at these certain pop-up events, right? Because we had some really good days there, even
yeah,
though it was mainly food vendors,
yeah.
right? We did have like 2 bad days there, but I would say the other times that we were setting up there, we did really well. But again, because of the different things that we brought, the attention that we brought to the booth and the energy that we had, I would say.
Yeah. Um, and yeah, so I think that's like one of the things that like oftentimes vendors do is like they romanticize reality versus like expectations and that's just like something that you have to be open to, right? You got to be realistic with the pop-ups that you're going to as a vendor,
Yeah.
and accept like there's gonna be bad days, there's gonna be good days, but on those bad days you have to do your best to like even if it's not going how you want it to go, you can't completely shut down and like be discouraged and just like sit down or whatever the case is and like contemplate on that. You have to try to push and like give yourself that reason like okay I haven't made any sales, or if you are making sales but not the number and goals you're trying to hit,
Yeah.
like put yourself out there, greet every single person walking by, try to get them to come in like closer to your booth, do little
Mm.
challenges, do giveaways, do things that like are gonna want people to be around and like make heads turn. um
What would you say, with that being said, what would you say is like the biggest mistake that vendors make? Because I think something that I did notice when we would do events was not the vendors not greeting people as they walk by, which is something we learned very, very
I
early.
think it's people not being greeted, and then also the kind of going back to the first thing is people romanticizing the because I'm at this really big event, sales are just gonna come to me. And they
Mm.
like get comfortable because they're like, well, I already paid X amount to be here. There's gonna be people walking by and like people are just gonna come by for me because why wouldn't they? I have a good product or I have a good service. Like it doesn't work that way. Like
Yeah.
people don't know who you are. They don't know what you bring. They don't know what service you're providing. Like you might have a banner, you might have a table, you might have everything set up, but you have to think about that people are shy, people are nervous, people don't want to walk up. They're like
Yep.
unsure what you're even maybe providing or selling.
Yep.
And so you being in the front or on the side or whatever, and like if you see someone look at your stuff or towards your way, greeting them, telling them, hey, like, are you looking into this? Or like, hey, like, are you into fitness or whatever the case, whatever niche you're in, and like try to reel them in to like start a conversation or have them look at your product closer or service,
Yeah.
ask questions, answer questions, be ready, and also just be welcoming. I feel like in pop-ups we've gone, dude, even in those really, really big ones where there's thousands of people, a lot of the time people are just sitting on a chair inside their booth and they're just hoping like people walk up in there,
Facts.
you know?
That's what I would say is a vendor's biggest mistake. That and attitude. When you have a bad attitude, and this is in general, right? When you see people with a bad attitude or like a smirk on their face, you don't even want to acknowledge them, walk in their direction, because you're just like, oh my goodness. You know what I mean? That is, I personally think, the biggest mistake that vendors make. And then, damn, that's already two. But the third one, because this, I think we learned this real quick too, is like table setup.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make sure that it doesn't always have to be walkable, right? As long as you have a good, clean presentation that looks professional, then you look like a real brand, right? When
Organization for sure.
organization, yes, all of that plays a key factor into your sales, honestly, because it's easy to walk past someone that has like a messy table where everything's kind of just scattered, and it just makes it's not pleasing to the eye, right? When it's clean and organized, you got the same hats all uniformed. You got the two t-shirts, for us, like the hoodies. It was all cleaned. It was organized. Whenever we sold items, we replenished it right away. So
Yep.
it always looked clean. We had our lint roller there, we were making sure we were keeping our area clean and organized. Even like behind us with our bins where we had our product, it was all organized. It was all categorized, shirts, hoodies, sweats, the beanies, the hats. It was all clean. When we went on our 2-minute break to eat, unfortunately, we were go away from our booth. We were never there eating in front of people's faces, like, because that's just kind of rude and like gross in a sense. So
Mm-hmm.
these are things that can make you look a lot more professional as a vendor. Like, you do these, even these little, they're not even like major steps, I would say. These are kind of just like basics.
Mm-hmm.
When you do these things, you look like you've been a vendor for more than a year. You look like, okay, these
Yeah.
people are solidified,
Yeah.
right?
They're established.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think also to add to that, I think branding. You want to make sure that people know that what your brand is. Just you can tell like what kind of brand or pop up or tent or business you are from a distance. I think one of
It's
the big
true.
things that we did in the very, very beginning was we made like tablecloths with like our business name and logo on it. On all of our tables that we had set up had like a similar one. It had our Instagram, our website, and our brand name. And so people that were walking by can read the tablecloth and like already kind of put one and one together without walking up what we were without us having to say. And so that would spark question to them sometimes and say, hey, like this is up my alley. This is a fitness brand. Let me go walk up and check out their merchandise because I like the gym or I like running or I like health and wellness. So a lot of the times, like if we didn't have that, if we just had a plain black tablecloth or nothing to show that we were a fitness brand, I think people would have just walked by and assumed that we just sold random clothes.
Yeah, that's true. Cause there was even just having a tablecloth makes it feel more organized and cleaner,
Mhm.
honestly. There's a lot of vendors that don't invest in doing the tablecloth, and, I mean, obviously, like, it comes at a cost, right? Like, the stuff isn't free. You obviously have to get
Yeah.
it done or made for you, but again, that is something that, like Bruce said, like it really pops. It stands out from afar where people could kind of spot it out and be like, "Oh wow, what is that?" Like it's
Mhm.
intriguing, and let me go over there. Let me see what this is all about, right? So I think that's a good point, dude. Good
Yeah.
point. I didn't even think about that one actually.
Lastly, actually, one more on here that I actually see it's super important is having different types of payment methods available.
Oh my god,
Dude, we've lost so many sales because in the very beginning we only did Zelle and we did cash. And majority of
dude.
the people were paying with cash and they didn't want to pay with like Zelle because they didn't want to like type in the email or they didn't have Zelle set up or their bank didn't offer Zelle or whatever the case was, or they had an Android and there are so many reasons, or they didn't know how to operate Apple Pay, they didn't have it set up, and then they would just be like, oh, never mind, I'll come back, and then they would never come back. So
Yeah,
once we did, literally, we tried it like on the second to last pop up that we did. I think it was. We did finally like contactless payment, and it was so easy. Like
dude.
it made the process of paying so much easier, and like it just saves you from carrying cash. It saves you from like having to do any of that, where you can just Apple Pay and that's it.
Mm-hmm. It
And
gives
that,
the person also less time to think about the money that they're spending also.
yeah, because also too like it's all psychology where if
Yeah.
someone is handing you $40 to $60 cash, like they're more likely to look at the money before they even pay and just kind of be like, and second guess themselves and ask, do I really need this
Yeah.
item that it costs $40 or $50 or $20, right? And so when it's contactless, right, it's just kind of like tap and pay and that's it. You don't even think about it, you don't process it, you just money out of your account,
Yeah.
which is kind of crazy to say, but that's just the reality. Like, you know, there's less friction in the transaction.
Mhm.
Um, but super important. If you guys don't have multiple payment services to like offer, get a QR code if that's like an option you need. Have a contactless payment format, or you can do like a Square. You can do like through your banks. A lot of banks offer like a tap and go pay method
Yeah. For
um
free too.
for free. Obviously for free means like they take a percentage, but it's like a 1 to 2, sometimes 3% depending on your
Yeah.
bank, but
All
look
of those
into it.
services, they'll take about a percentage, so
Yeah,
you'll be
look
fine.
into different services and make your own educated decision based off what's going to benefit you the best. um we do ours through Chase, the bank that we bank with. um, but you don't have to do it with Chase. You guys can do whatever bank or whatever payment service. There's like third party ones that offer services like that. So you guys can do your own homework and kind of decide. But for us, it just made it very easy to go with Chase and kind of
Mhm.
just do it with that.
And make sure you have a separate account from your personal account, guys. That's super important too. Think when you're like a starting business or vendor, you don't really think about these things, but it just makes it a lot easier for yourself and your tax person at the end of the year to have everything already just separated. So much easier.
Yes, I agree. Um, so moving on into like now the process of your setup, everything's ready to go. The power of first impressions and like what impacts they have on your overall pop up and like the outcome that you're gonna have. Um, How quickly do you feel like people decide if they're gonna care or purchase from your booth? Like, what do you think, is a part of that?
Dude, with people's attention span nowadays, you have to grab them and reel them in as quickly as possible. Like it has to be instant. You have to use some trigger word for them or like something funny or just something that they can really second take a second to think about and make that decision like, okay, let me see what it is, right? How many times do you go to a mall and you see a shoe cleaner say, dude, your shoes look a little dirty. Let me clean it up for you real quick. Right away, you're just like, well, crap, maybe my shoe is a little dirty, like, "Hey, bro, but I'm not gonna purchase it." "Well, let me just clean it for free." Instantly, they bring you in, they start talking about the product, they're like, "Oh, I'll give you this percentage off," whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, it's literally that quick, guys. Like, if you're not quick on your feet on bringing the people in, it's gonna be that easy for them to just go, right? Like, a lot of times, this dude Bruce would be is making a comment like, "Hey, dude, it looks like you hit the gym. Check this new product out." And
Yeah.
instantly, like, obviously, Bruce is not gonna say that to someone that doesn't look like they're athletic or hit the gym, right? Obviously, like, we know who we were looking for, so we saw someone that looked fit or ripped. It was real easy for us to say, "Hey, dude, it looks like you hit the gym. You want to hit a challenge for $5 off on the shirt?" Dude, and that easy, we were able to bring a good amount of people in that way.
Yeah. I think also too, like being aware of when people are looking at your stuff, like the things they're
Mhm.
saying to themselves. I know I've made a couple sales as well where like that person didn't have any intentions of buying. Like realistically, they didn't. They didn't have no idea, no intentions of buying. They just kind of walked up to the table because they saw like one of the shirts they liked or they thought it was a nice design and they were just kind of looking at it. And then I can hear them like as I'm not really paying attention, say like, "Oh, I really like this shirt," or like ask their partner or friend, like, "Hey, what do you think about this shirt?" And then like I'll kind of just butt in and be like, "Oh, I think it's really cool. It'll look nice on you. Do you want to try it on?"
Mhm.
And then that breaks the ice and makes them feel more comfortable, and they're just like, "Oh, I can try it on. Like, let me see." And then like this is where obviously you don't know what the outcome is gonna be, but if they try it on and then they really like it, and their friend is there, like, "Oh yeah, it looks nice on you," then it's already like we went
Mhm.
said earlier, it's a psychological purpose where they now want to buy it because they look good and feel good in it.
Mhm.
And then,
Yeah.
people want to feel good and look good nowadays, so
Good point.
they end up buying it off of one little thing that I just kind of said.
To
Um,
add to that, if you have a partner as a vendor, you have to make sure that they're matching your energy because I literally remember I could have been dealing with a customer and hear that on the side and naturally turn and say, "Yeah, it looks really good on you." And then now you have their friend agreeing that the product looks good on them, obviously Bruce, and then the third person, right, saying, "Actually, that looks really good on you."
yeah.
Dude, that's a good point, dude.
Yeah. So I think like little tips of like sales, and these are like basic sales skills, I guess, that we've just kind of learned. We're not like professional salespeople, but I think it's just so important that like you can't be afraid to do your part to sell your product or service.
Yeah.
Because it's not gonna sell itself. Like reality, it's not. So you had to do your part at a pop up and um really attract why someone should buy it. Um,
Yeah, the answer is always no unless you ask.
and I think just kind of like to add on to that, like for things that people for first impressions is you also need to create an environment that people can relate to. So I think like an example that we've kind of already touched up on was like the athletic fitness feeling of our booth. I can recall at
Yeah.
this event we're gonna be doing tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Saturday. We're filming this on a Friday, but for Saturday, um, last year we had people coming up to us at the end of the night that were other vendors that were like booths away, and were coming up to us saying like, "Dude, I saw you guys like with a lot of people at your
Yeah.
booth. Like, what do you guys have going on over here?" Like, sparked curiosity, right? And so when they had a chance to walk over, they came over to check us out. because they wanted to be a part of what we were doing, right? Or
Yep.
also too, like the aesthetic feel, right? Okay, are you guys like a brand that I can see myself aesthetically wearing, right? A lot of people nowadays are into the fashion, into matching, looking good and feeling sporty, or like um
Yep.
making sure if they buy something, people are gonna notice it, right? Like, oh, that's a cool fit. So you also finding your own audience in this process is creating an environment that really represents your brand, so that people can see your brand and know exactly which group of people are like involved in it or like buying from you, if that makes sense, right? Like if you think about like
That's true. That is true.
certain brands, and just kind of throwing one out here, I will say like a dark sport, right? Like dark sport gym brand. You guys know that like pretty much I would say 90% of the people that buy stuff from them are all like gym goers, and they're people that are like running or like going to the gym and lifting weights, and it's just kind of like that dark aesthetic, and everyone has that. Like 90% of the people that buy from them have that aesthetic. So kind of like another thing is theming your booth around that.
Yeah, dude, you're so right, man. And that creates networking opportunities for you guys too, because when you look professional, people think you're professional. When you act professional, people think you are professional and they want, like Bruce said, they want to be a part of that. They want to see what they can pick out from you, what learn from you, collaborate with you, invite you to their events going on. One of our biggest events that we did in the Anaheim frick, what was it called? They're it's like the stadium.
The Anaheim Center?
Anaheim Center, yeah, yeah. When we went there, we made that connection through the event that we're doing this weekend in Northridge. We made that connection from that event
Yeah.
again because we were uplifting people, we had high energy, we were interacting with everybody that was passing by, and this person that was walking by noticed it and said, "Hey, dude, I want to invite you guys to this event that we are doing."
Yep.
And dude, it just goes a long way. I don't understand why some of you vendors. I mean, I understand why because obviously when you're starting off, it is difficult, right? It's difficult to get that motivational boost, especially when you're not seeing sales. Those guys, we're built different.
We are.
Yeah, but it's difficult, right? Like it's not easy for you to just be up here, right, at level 10 all the time. Like it could get tiring. It's exhausting when you're there for say 6 hours just
Dude. Yeah.
standing on your feet. Like maybe the first 3 hours you don't have any sales, right? Well, guess what? That just means you need to turn it up a notch to try to make up for those last 3 hours. Dude,
Facts.
I can't tell you how many times we would have like 30 minutes left at the Glendale farmers market. And this dude Bruce would tell one of our other friends, like, nah, dude, we're staying here until everybody's gone. But
Yeah.
that attitude and energy, how many sales did we get within the last
Dude, we
30
would get
minutes?
like those stragglers, people that are
Yeah.
just kind of walking by, checking out the last boots that are still there. And then
Yep.
people would like, we would get one or two sales, three sales sometimes.
Dude, yeah.
So it's like, dude, three sales that we could have missed if we started packing up.
Exactly.
So that's the
Exactly.
way I see it.
Yeah.
Like staying to the very end is important because you just never know. As long as you're going to put the effort into like really trying to convert. Um,
Yes.
but, you know, some people again let it get to them and they shut down and they want to just leave early.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. Like sometimes people have like, for us it makes sense because we can stay to the very end. Like we don't have food that's gonna be expiring, like, or anything that is gonna go bad, or we have to
Yeah.
make in batches. um so I know like for food vendors it's a little bit difficult because for obviously that stuff you can't just really like have it on standby. For us it works out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it just kind of works out for us. But I mean, super important, you want to make sure that
Yes. Yes. Yes.
you
Yes. Yes.
are
Yes.
making a really great first impression, because that is what's going to possibly decide if someone's going to buy from you or not. Being energetic, being welcoming, greeting everyone, showcasing your products, being confident, and also I would say um like believing in the product you have, and not being ashamed of like what you're there, why you're there.
Mm-hmm.
um
That's a good point,
you know,
dude.
because I think like if you're proud of what you have and the garments or whatever business you have, people can tell that you really really are happy to be there, that you
Yeah,
really want to, like, you see you have a vision, or um like the clothes you make or whatever the case is there's a purpose behind it.
that is
If you're
true.
just there kind of like, oh yeah, it's my business, like this is what it is, let me know if you need anything. If I was a guest or a customer trying to look, I'd just be like, oh, okay, cool. I'd look and then be like, no, never mind, thank you. Like, you know, because it's kind of like there's friction. There's it's intense. There's,
Yeah.
you know, it doesn't feel welcoming. I don't feel invited into the booth. Um, but
That makes it a lot easier for you to up, be energetic and be passionate about it.
mm-hmm.
If you like Bruce is saying, if you're not passionate about it, dude, like it's gonna be so hard for you to really bring that energy that people at events like that are looking for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because dude, you're at an event, you're at a fair, you're at a farmer's market. You know, people are there to relax, have a good time. You know, like usually when people go out to like outside like that, you know, they're more social. You know, so that's when you really have to take advantage and
Oh yeah.
either be passionate about what you're selling or just get out of your little bubble and put yourself out there because
Mm-hmm.
like Bruce said earlier, product's not gonna sell itself, you know.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I think like going on from this, I would say some do's of having a successful pop up. So things that can help you have a successful pop up. It varies, but you know, there's
get
specific things that I think separate a a vendor from having a great outcome and a bad outcome. And I think some of the very basic things come down to like preparation, um,
dude. Yeah.
like knowing the demographic, how much networking you've done already, like prior or you're gonna be doing during, and then your customer interaction. I think those are like your main things that really influence your outcome in any of these events, whether it's a private event, a public event, or whatever the case is. And, you know, like what kind of transactions or cash flow, whatever you want to call it, is going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
Get
this is
there
just like,
early.
yeah, get there early,
Get there
have time to
early.
set up, don't rush, um, and be ready to rock and roll. You know, get a coffee, do what you have to do, but
Dude.
you guys have to like, you know, give it your all on these pop-ups.
Dude, yeah. We actually, that's another thing that we learned really early on was getting there, if not early, to at least get there on time because they usually give you about like an hour and a half to like set up everything
Mm-hmm.
before the actual event starts. And that is how you're gonna dial in your actual setup. You know, you when you get there last minute and you're rushing to like set things up, you know, you start dropping stuff, you start putting stuff in the wrong area, you lose items, you don't get to take inventory, which, like Bruce said, preparation. The day before, we literally just did this right now. We recounted our inventory, we packed everything in separate bins and we know exactly what we're taking for tomorrow.
Oh
So
yeah.
that way in the morning, as soon as we get our cafe, we load up the vehicles,
Oh
head
yeah.
straight to the event, set up, kick back, you know, maybe scope out the other vendors, grab a little comida because we're big backs. And then
Yeah, that's the first thing we always think about is food. So bad.
we just like good food, dude. I
So
don't know what to
saying,
tell
let us
y'all.
know if you guys want us to come out to your restaurant.
Let's
Shit,
do, yeah. We're
all
gonna start
down.
doing also, as you can see right here, video is sponsored by Con Azúcar Cafe. It's out here in Silmar, right? Silmar?
Silmar, yep,
Dude,
in the
super,
San Fernando
super cool
Valley.
people. Um, but yeah, preparation, super, 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 super important, guys. Also, when you get there early, you might get a chance to like meet the host and interact with them,
Mm-hmm.
which has also helped us. Like Bruce last time had a great idea of like giving the host like a free T-shirt to both of them, and dude, that went a long way, right?
Yeah.
They remembered you
They
or us.
remembered us and literally like hit us up personally for a following up event, and we're like,
Yeah.
hey, we have a spot. You guys want it? It's yours.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can save you one.
Yeah.
Essentially, like we got a placeholder if we wanted to go to the next event.
Yes.
Um, and I'm sure we're not the only vendors, obviously, but at least we're part of the group of vendors that does get that, you know, like VIP treatment, essentially, if you want to call it that.
I like that. I like
Because I
that.
know for sure, like people that are just there are there, and like they're obviously there for one reason, and it's to be a part of the event,
Yeah.
sell, and leave, right? They
Yes.
don't go out of their way and like network with whoever put the event together and stuff like that, and you're not gonna get remembered that way, or you're not gonna unfortunately like have a new connection to another event, or who knows, maybe a different event, right? But yeah, we ended up doing another event after the last one, and it was the one over there by the other gym, on the street. Remember?
Yes, it was like the 818 market
Yeah, it was like an
or something like that.
818 market or something like that. But
That
it
one
was
was
on the
cool too.
street,
Yeah.
and it was pretty cool. It was pretty big as well. But for that one is when they hit us up personally, and they're like, "Hey, we have a spot for you guys. Sign up early or whatever." And
Yeah.
we like secured it way ahead in advance.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but I guess like some advice overall for you guys that are planning to either do your first pop up or have done pop ups and are looking for what can I do different or what can I do to help my outcome. I'm gonna name a few of the things here that we have put down that I think can help you guys. For one, you want to promote the event obviously to your
Yes.
fans on your personal page, on your business page, on or all your pages. You have multiple, and tag the event as well on your
Mm-hmm.
stories, because you just never know. Obviously, more exposure if they repost your story or
Yep.
reel. Um, then if they have thousands of followers and those thousands of followers are seeing your page on their story, and then they can probably follow you or come find you at the event. So that's one.
Mm-hmm.
Be creative around that as well. It's not limited to just doing like a super basic, hey, pull up to this address at this time this day. Like do a little reel, guys. Like it's
Yeah.
it's not rocket science. It's not very hard to create a super easy um like little tour walk to your booth, like guiding people on, if you go to the entrance, if you walk here and walk there, turn here, turn there, this is how you get to my booth.
Yeah. That's what
And
we
then
did.
you do like a play speed by times two or times three, and then just fast forward it and then slow it down on the very end to like show, hey, this is my booth and whatever, and do like a 15-second video like that, post it, right, tell them that you're going to be there from this time to this time, and update people throughout the day on how it's going for you
Yes.
on your stories. Give people a reason to come back to your story, or maybe a second chance for them to leave their house if they were like contemplating it, to come and see you.
Yes,
You
sir.
want to do the most that you can to really, really have everyone come out. Um, Whether people come out or not, just do it, right? You could probably do all these things and nothing will even happen, and you might make no sales, and you have to be okay with that, but at least like what is working and what isn't,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think secondly is, um in the process of posting all this stuff, like if you're posting ahead, like the week before, the week of, make sure you guys provide an address and make sure you guys provide a date and time, like clearly
Yes.
described it on your posts and stuff like that, because I can't tell you guys how many times we've done a post and it has like the date and the description, like on the IG post or a reel, and people will still ask me when is this and what time, because it's not like in the initial flyer.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
people will just not read, unfortunately, but having it in multiple places and posting it multiple times will up your chances of having people that want to go or don't have plans on going to this event, and bringing friends and family or whatever the case is, and maybe stopping by and buying something. Um,
Very
and then
true.
I think number three is, we've already mentioned this, but having a branded sign, tent, um, canopy, or tablecloths, things that are gonna sing, not sing, but like sign in, sign that this is your booth. Yeah. So super important. Branding around your booth is what's gonna help people recognize that you're like your own brand and separate you from maybe the left or the right booth,
True.
because a lot of times people just have like a plain white canopy or just have like plain white tables out and just have like all their stuff up. But when you look like a legit brand, like you're a little brick and mortar, people are like, damn, like they put a lot of effort into this. Like, let's go check it out. They look like they have a lot of cool stuff going on.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is have clear pricing. And if you're not gonna have like prices labeled, then make sure you know your the prices of your product, guys. Like
Yeah.
I, it could be frustrating when someone's trying to buy something and you're like, oh crap, like dang wait, is this 130? Is this 140? Then you gotta ask your partner, you gotta check your notes, like, dude, at that point, that's already like 15 seconds of this person realizing like this person doesn't even know the prices of their product. And now it's just like I kind of don't really care anymore, right?
This guy, I don't know shit. Yeah.
But yeah, it's super important. Make sure you know your prices right off the bat, or have clear little stickers or label strips that have the pricing, so that way when
Oh
people go
yeah.
up, walk up to it, they can clearly read it.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
Another big one is talk to everyone respectfully. Even if they're being rude to you, hey, it is what it is. Let them be. Say good morning. How are you doing? Little things like little comments like that can honestly sometimes flip someone's day
Dude.
completely 360, right?
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I say good morning at like my 9 to 5, and people would tell me like, dude, you're the first person to tell me good morning in the store. So thank you. I appreciate that. Dude, that goes such a long way, guys. Like even for myself now, like that's something that I look out for going to certain places, right?
Yeah.
We had a bad experience somewhere last week where we got up to the food stand and
Oh yeah.
the person didn't even like acknowledge us. They literally just said, "Oh, how many do you want?" And it was just like, "Oh, well, good morning." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that kind of just ruined our whole experience there. Like it
It sets
sucks.
a tone, a bad tone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It sets a bad tone, dude. So just make sure you're respectful, even if they're being rude to you, dude, just set it to the side. You remember, you are a representation of your brand or your product, right? So regardless
Yep.
of what people are saying to you, sometimes you just gotta suck it up and realize that you are there for one reason. You have a purpose. Get
Mm-hmm.
through the day and then put everything else to the side.
Yeah.
And then again, like we mentioned earlier, networking with like nearby vendors, you never know again
Dude,
what kind
yeah.
of opportunity is out there for you guys.
It's crazy. There's a lot of opportunities out there, and you just never know who's in what business and who has their hands in what pots, and you
Yeah.
just could. It's never ending. You might catch yourself in an interesting situation or get invited somewhere or something, and it can really change the direction of your brand and really in a positive way. You just never know. But definitely just shake everyone's hands, try to network, exchange information, have it like easily accessible, and promote your stuff, dude. Don't be shy, don't be embarrassed. Like put your brand out there. The worst that can happen is someone follows you and never hits you up, or like never works with you, like whatever the case is.
Yeah.
That's fine. Like those things are gonna happen, but as long as you put your name and your business out there is what matters. Um, and I think I
Very
just want to
true.
add one last thing on here, and that's like adding to what we just said, like with the social medias and stuff. Is I think a lot of the times we miss crucial moments at pop-ups, and that's like growing your fan base or growing your followers on your social medias by failing to tell people, hey, like it's okay if you don't want to buy something, but if you do want to follow us, we do like live updates, or we do sell things on our stories for discounted, or whatever kind of promotions or things you have going on, or hey, like maybe you like our mission and our goal that we're going for. Follow us on Instagram, stay posted, stay updated. Like that in itself can then later convert to a sale. right? Maybe
That's
it's not a
true.
sale in the moment, but it can convert to one later down the road because they like a different piece or they see you wearing something or doing something or whatever the case is, and then that person ends up buying something from you.
That's a good point.
Um, this is something that we've talked about so many times where the reason why we ended up getting our Instagram on our booth with the QR code was because in the beginning we were failing to tell people, hey, just follow us, even if you don't buy something. And so now people see it and they say, hey, is this your Instagram? And then we were like, oh, yeah, scan the QR code and it takes you right to our Instagram page. You can follow us. Um, and we just really made it very streamlined. I think that in itself helped us get hundreds of followers and like the
Easily.
pop-ups that we did because we made it very, very easily accessible for people to find us.
Yeah.
So findability in itself, and like one word, if I can say, is like make yourself findable on the internet for people and make it easy. Um, the less work they have to do, the less friction you're creating for someone to find you, buy from you, have a good experience. All of those key factors, it's gonna be just better for you and your business. So
Very true.
um,
Very true.
that's kind of what I would say on that. But I guess like moving on from this, one of the last questions we have for you guys here is what
Lessons
is
learned.
what is a lesson or lessons learned, and what are things that we've learned like just doing the pop-ups? What would you say?
Dude, my lesson, dude, I learned that when you think you are maxed out in energy, there's always some in the tank.
Oh, dang.
Dude, we've done a back-to-back event, the same one that we're doing this weekend, but last year I didn't take the night off at work, so I took like an hour nap in my car, went to
We didn't do
work.
this one back to back last year. You guys did the Anaheim one back to back when I wasn't there.
Oh, he's capping. He don't know. Point is, that say the Anaheim one, right? Still don't know what he's talking about, guys. He's capped out right now.
No energy in the tank.
But anyway, um, doing these things back to back, j- just when you think you don't have energy, dude, you have to. I think being passionate obviously helps about it. Helps with your energy levels, right? But I've learned it has taught me to really dig deep and overcome my mental thoughts and all the background noise, to really like bring out even more energy. That's and
Yeah, he's
it's
bringing
funny
out
because it
energy
sounds
from the
simple.
reserves of the reserves.
It sounds so simple, but there's just no way that you're capped out, and that's something that I've learned myself, is that there's always energy in the tank, you just have to dig deep and find it.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that has taught me is organization and preparation. Going back to, like, our first pop-ups, we were very, like, nonchalant about getting to the events, and it was just like, "Okay, well, we're gonna take everything," right? And
Mm-hmm.
then it'd be the morning of, and we're like, "Oh crap! Well, maybe we shouldn't take everything because first of all, we can't even fit everything in the Hondas. Second of all, are we gonna even have the space in our 10 by 10 to fit all of this product, right?"
Yep.
So I think those are like two huge things that I learned a lot from, like, within doing the pop
Yeah.
up events.
Dang, that's true. I like those. I think
Super basic, but
for me, early on, things that we learned that I think we talked about and we just knew we had to change and just not have happen again, at least in the earlier stages, was we got really comfortable with like our section at first, and like obviously we want our friends and family to come and support us, but it ended up turning into like a crowded space where there was just too many people and too many distractions going on, and it was like a hangout spot
yeah,
versus there for business. And when you're small and you're still growing and you don't have an established like system or you don't have an established demand, you're not just there setting up and then people are coming to buy off you. Like these really big brands that are already established, like if Nike does a pop up anywhere, they don't have to really do anything because people are going because there's already a demand, right? They're gonna sell out of whatever limited stuff they put out,
Yeah,
right?
that's so true.
That's not us. So we have to go out there and do the work to really try hard and like sell these things and let people know why we're doing it. Um, and I think in the beginning we were like, "Hey, it's really nice having family here," or friends or whatever the case was, but it was a distraction impeding us from doing what we wanted to do because then we felt like, "Well, my friends or family here, I have to like pay attention to them," and like then I'm like trying to do both at the same time, right?
Yeah,
And it gets distracting. So
it's very easily.
I think some positive advice for you guys is like it's okay for friends and family to come by, say hi, support you, but I think you guys also have to be just very strict for yourselves and say like there's space that's for working and like if they want to stop by and like celebrate you and what you're doing, that's amazing, but they also have to respect and you got to respect like you can't let yourself get distracted on that either because you're there for a reason, right?
Yeah,
And that's to promote your brand, promote your stuff. Unless they're actively like helping you and having you sell stuff,
true.
that's different. But if they're just there hanging out, not doing anything, and just kind of taking up space in your booth, like they gotta go.
Yeah,
You know what
and
I
it's
mean?
so hard. That was very difficult because we're so family orientated where it was just like, damn, dude, we ignored it for the first couple of events until we realized it was actually an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we had to sit down and have a discussion within all of us and say, hey guys, like, it's cool for them to stop by, but unfortunately, like, there's already four of us in this booth. Like, we should not even be adding more people. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's a 10 by 10. It just doesn't
Yeah.
make sense, right?
With all of our merchandise up and everything like that.
Yeah.
So just think about it, guys. It can get really packed really quick, and so
Yeah.
I think that's one thing. Again, like if I started all over from zero, like that's one thing for sure I would always remind myself of is like if I'm gonna be somewhere, it's gonna be there to work
With
and
purpose.
like with purpose, and not that like family being there to support you doesn't have purpose and stuff like that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love the support, and I want all my family to come and see me like in my spot and doing my thing, but also like I have to make sure that I control that boundary of like you guys aren't here to just hang out with me. Like I gotta do my job for
Yeah.
today, so
Yeah, we
that
also had to freaking it got to a point where we had to get rid of these bad boys right here, the
yeah, we
chairs.
were sitting down too much. Hell no, I'm taking mine tomorrow. That shit's a 12-hour event. There's no
Dude.
way, Chief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like see, these are little things that we again, like me and you caught on really quick where we are like, "Hey dude, like get your ass off the chair, like, dude, we got
Yeah.
business to do." And it sucked for us because I felt like me and you weren't so bad. Like, I think me and you had like a lot of intention going into these events where it's like,
Yeah.
bro, we were walking back and forth in front of like the booth, socializing with people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was a little bit easier for us, I think, because we're just naturally like that in
Yep.
general. But if you have to, these gotta go. You better go get some hokas or something because your feet are gonna be aching, guys.
Yeah, wear some comfy shoes for sure if you're standing or doing something on your feet. Um, so that's like my first one, and I think like another one I would say, um, I would say that
Carry cash.
honestly, not even cash. I think if I was to ever start over again in pop-ups, I would probably make specific, well, not make, but not get excited over the pop-up and over buy product because we're thinking because there's a large amount of people that are gonna be there, we're gonna sell this amount. I think that's happened to us where we've gotten really excited because we're doing all these events and we're
Yeah.
doing the wrong events, like we mentioned earlier. We were doing like events that didn't really meet our demographic of people. And so we were like doing orders on orders and orders, and then like we were selling some of it, but it wasn't enough to sell.
Yeah.
And so then we were like getting excited on this high of like we're making sales, we're having another pop up, another big pop up, and like we're making some sales here, some's there, and then like at the end of all the pop ups, we look back and we're like, well, we still have like 30% of this product, we still have 25% of this product, we still have 40% of this product, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe it doesn't sound like that much, but when you look at the breakdown of numbers and just money, what's sitting there, because we made it with the intentions of like within these next couple pop-ups, we should sell them out. Then you start realizing, damn, I didn't run a campaign like online. I didn't run it towards my website. I didn't run it like market it here because I thought in person like it was just gonna go through there. And so then now you're sitting on stuff with like only large and extra large, or maybe medium, some mediums and some large, and you're just like, well, how do I create a campaign not having some sizes?
Yeah.
And so you put yourself in a really difficult situation where you're like, dang, how do I sell this stuff? And my next option is to do more pop-ups, right? And so I think just making smarter choices on quantities, or making smarter choice or better choices on what garments we are allocating for specific events.
Mm-hmm. You have to know your customer,
Mm-hmm.
and depending on the event that you're going or location, you gotta do your homework and say, or even break it down to like the weather, dude. Like, if it's gonna be a cloudy day, cool. Let's take all of our hoodies. If it's gonna be hot and sunny, maybe we take one of each size of our hoodie, or like two of
Mm-hmm.
this size that are selling well, and then that's it, right?
Yep.
That's a really good point, honestly, because we did get stuck with like a lot of our 2XLs, right? When we were trying to promote towards like the fit athletic person. Looking back at it now, it's like maybe we shouldn't have got that many sizes and 2XLs, right? Like, we did sell some, but we did get stuck with a lot, like Bruce was saying. That's when you really have to break it down and just look at numbers and
Yeah.
reflect before you start moving on to your next event, or your next purchase, I should say.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
you do, just make sure you're consistent with like the events, like being consistent as far as like, okay, we're gonna do one every week or every other week, so that way you maximize your opportunity to really get your product sold.
Yep. That's very true. I agree. Maximizing products sold by being consistent, because consistency is key amongst anything and everything, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think just kind of closing out here. Um, damn. So what would you say like key takeaways are overall?
Key takeaways overall. Oh man, dude. Foot traffic doesn't always mean a lot of sales. Super huge.
Yep.
Um, if you don't have the right energy, no sales. If you're not prepared, no sales. If you can't explain your brand in at least, I'm gonna say like between like 15 to 30 seconds, you're probably not gonna sell your brand story. People are not gonna want to invest in it if you can't even explain your story, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is something we learned really early too, that I think I'm not sure if it might have been another vendor that said, if you can't, they kind of gave us this advice where like, dude, if you don't have like your story posted, or you guys can't explain it all in sequence and tell the same story, people are not going to want to invest in your brand,
Yep.
right? And that also helped us kind of piece some of the missing parts in the beginning to really lock in the certain um character that we were trying to grab in. I think those are like super those are my key takeaways.
Yeah, I honestly agree, dude. But just kind of to add on to that, it's just your energy. Make sure your energy's on point. Um, all the things you got going on outside of that, leave them at home. Leave them in the car. Leave them on the sidewalk or wherever.
Yeah.
But do not take them into your booth, because that shit is toxic and people could pick up on the energy very, very quickly. So
Yeah.
you got to be able to put those things aside, and then if you need to come back to that after the event, then that's fine. But if you're, you know, energy super important. Um, and just kind of make sure that you're promoting your brand, dude. Like, I can't stress this enough. If someone isn't interested in buying, just tell them to follow you on Instagram, follow you on whatever social medias you have, your YouTube, your TikTok, your Instagrams. Those things can make a difference down the road and can help you make later on conversions.
Yeah.
Not always guaranteed, but it's better, right? It helps your interaction rate, it helps your view rate. Like, all these analytics play a huge part on growing your brand's page and growing your personal page, and scaling. Because the more views you get, the more likes, the more comments, the more all these things that are going on in your page, the better for you. And that's an easy way if you're in an event with thousands of people. Like, dude, think about if 100 people follow you or 50 people follow you, right? And you're there
Yeah.
for 2 to 3 days. That's 150 real people, by the
Real
way,
people.
that you met, you interacted with, that kind of like your story or are interested in what else you have to offer, following you on your Instagram.
Right.
So, super important.
Yeah.
These 150 people, I would argue, are like really, really important and have a high possibility of converting later on versus a random person that comes across your ad on Instagram.
I was just about to make a comment on that.
You know?
Yeah.
So you could run ads, but at the end of the day, when you make a cult like following of people that you really interact with, you really have met you in person and can acknowledge that you behind the camera and you in person are the same person, goes a long way. Like, people recognize authenticity. People recognize the the humbleness. People recognize the energy. That they remember you and your brand, right? So super important. Like,
Yeah.
it sounds like shameless plugging yourself, but dude, you gotta put yourself out there. You have to. Like,
Yeah.
the only way you're gonna grow is putting yourself out there, whether it's telling people to follow you or them following you by on their own because of you making it accessible to them on like whatever format you want.
Yeah. Dude, I totally agree, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Real
Uh,
people. Real people equals real sales. Doesn't matter how many followers you have on your social media account, you know. A lot of times, like Bruce said, they just see a video, they like it, they follow, and then it's kind of just out the window, right?
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, dude.
Um, but yeah, I think we'll close it off there.
Yeah, that's a pretty good breakdown of like the basics, I think. And well, I mean, overall, I think those are like the key, most important things, right? Because again, going back to the beginning, eh, pop-ups are not just about selling product, guys. Like, there's
Yeah.
so much opportunity out there for learning, networking, even hiring people. We met photographers out there that we
Yeah.
were like, dude, you know, later on down the road, we can hit you up or something, right? Like, let's get a business card, right?
Yeah.
Dude, there's so much opportunity out there, guys. Like, especially when you're passionate about your product, dude, it makes it so much easier. So
Yeah.
that's all I have to say about
Yeah,
that.
and I think just also to add on to that, it's like you just learn people skills. You learn how to interact in the real world. You learn how to have person to person conversations. You learn like what's important. You learn
Yeah,
what builds brands. You learn how to market. You learn um like basic social skills in the business world. And these things, like, even if you end up continuing with a brand or not, these are skills that you can take in any career, whether it's sales, whether it's like personal branding, whether it's like business management, or honestly, in my opinion, like pretty much any career you go, you got to interact with people. So,
yeah,
even if your business doesn't end up going to where you want it and you end up dropping it off to start something else or do something else that you're more passionate about, these are skills that you guys will learn doing these things and can take on for the rest of your life.
yeah. That is so true, man.
Yeah. But you guys already know. With that being said, this concludes today's episode
Oh yeah, this was good,
on
man.
vendor pop-ups or
This was
just booth
good.
pop-ups or any kind of pop-ups that we've kind of been a part of, or maybe you guys can relate out there in the audience watching this episode today. If you guys like this type of episodes, continue watching. We have a whole bunch of episodes on our YouTube channel. Check some of those out. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the hype button if we have it on there.
Dude, man, we need that, guys. We need
Yeah.
that. Comment hype on the video.
Yeah, you guys need to like, you guys need to comment, you guys need to subscribe. Need you guys to go crazy. Views on the long format videos have been going down a little bit, even though our subscribers are going up, which makes no sense to me. But I mean, it's the name of the game.
Yeah. You know what? It was a busy weekend. It was Mother's Day. You
Yeah.
know, because even the vlogs were slow. So
Yeah.
we'll cut a little bit of slack, but this week we need to see them go back
we
up.
need the real supporters out there for Money Emotion Mondays to tap in. And also, like, let us know, guys, if there's any topics you guys want us to cover, business related, experience, things like that, that we've kind of maybe have gone through. We can try
Yeah.
to have an episode on those things. We love, educating you guys. We like trying to put you guys on game and, putting you guys on information that we have access to uh, for free, and try to help the next aspiring business owner or business owner that is struggling with something. So if you are, feel free to comment and let us know what you guys
Yep.
want us to talk about, and we will do our best to cover that topic. But with that being said, you guys already know what to do, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.